What is up, guys? This is Mateo's 2020 Politics here, and today we thankfully have some new news. So, in case if you haven't heard of the Massachusetts Senate race, there is a primary election that's going to occur on September 1st, so that's in 2 days, between incumbent MA Senator Ed Markey and insurgent fake progressive Joe Kennedy III. And yes, he is a Kennedy, okay? Just to clarify before you guys search up whether Joe Kennedy is a Kennedy, whether he's related to JFK. So recently, the Kennedy campaign has been whining about how Markey's supporters have been threatening them, getting angry, right? And the Kennedy campaign sent a letter to the Markey campaign formally asking him to apologize for his supporters' conduct. So we'll read out the article, then we'll come back here to discuss. See you guys soon. A group of nearly 50 notable Massachusetts figures across politics, business, and philanthropy, many supporters of Joseph P. Kennedy III, on Tuesday night urged Senator Edward J. Markey and his campaign manager to publicly and clearly announce the hateful conduct and speech directed at Markey's opponent in the Senate Democratic primary. The letter came one day after the Kennedy campaign publicly accused Markey and his team of not doing enough to discourage negative attacks by the senator's supporters. Guys, this is exactly what they did to Bernie in 2020. I mean, his supporters were coming out, getting upset at Elizabeth Warren, sending her snake emojis on Twitter, right? And her and the other, corporate Democrats came out and asked Bernie to apologize for his own supporters' conduct. And, they act like it's preposterous that these people would be angry. Of course, these people are angry. They're angry at the Washington D.C. corporate bubble. All these politicians just pulling Machiavellian, opportunistic, and selfish moves just for political points. It's so clear that they don't care about the American people. They just care about, all the power and wealth for themselves, right? Which basically sums up Joe Kennedy. So of course they're going to be pissed. They're going to be pissed off at you, Joe Kennedy. What do you expect? What do you expect? I mean, it's so clear that you're a fake progressive. You're trying to act like the real progressive of the race to, climb the ladder, to continue climbing the ladder up from the House to the Senate. And that's going to be more clear by the fact that recently Nancy Pelosi, one of the most corporate Democrats, Washington, D.C., endorsed you. I mean, if you were a progressive, she wouldn't endorse you. She would just hate your guts, right? To add on to that, to add on to the icing of the cake, you thanked her for the endorsement and praised her. You called her competent and strong. Guys, a true progressive, a real progressive, would denounce the endorsement. He would say, "No, Nancy, I don't want you to support me. F off. I don't like you. You're the type of person I'm trying to run against. You, the status quo, I'm trying to run against that." But no, Joe Kennedy thanked her, went all smiley face, and showed it off that Nancy Pelosi endorsed him. So, in addition to that, he also used a dead family as bait. A few years back, a black child was killed by a police officer. Ed Markey signed a letter and tried to speak to the Attorney General to reform the laws. But then Ed Markey came out and tried to deny the facts. He tried to deny the fact that Ed Markey tried to actually fix the issue, right? He tried to make it seem like he was neglectful, and he was literally using a dead African American child as bait to win the Senate seat, right? So when Markey supporters are angry at you, don't be surprised. They see who you are. They see you as a snake. They want you to just go away, right? So it's so obvious that the Kennedys are just doing this for cheap political points. They're getting desperate, right? They just want to win. They see they're dropping in the polls. And out of that desperation, they are trying to make Ed Markey look bad by claiming his supporters are angry when the candidate isn't in control of their own supporters. It's not like if the supporters are angry, it's their candidate's fault, right? And this is a very dumb strategy anyways, because, well, aren't you trying to win? Don't you want to persuade Markey's supporters to go onto your side? Because right now you're doing the opposite. I mean, you're attacking them. Imagine attacking somebody's supporters. That's not going to help you win. That's going to hurt your chances. It's going to discourage them from supporting you. Right? It's just complete common sense. When you attack somebody's supporters, your supporters won't want to support you because you just attacked them. You're not trying to appeal to them. I don't know, man. It's it's sad, right? It's truly a sad sight. These fake progressives trying to run for higher office, trying to climb the ladder until they reach the rooftop. And Joe Kennedy couldn't be a clearer example of this. I mean, throughout this entire campaign, he's really exposed who he is. And it couldn't be any clearer than this move, where he tries to make Ed Markey look bad for his own supporters being angry at him, right? Like, what would you expect? They're upset at you and they're upset at the D.C. circus. Senator Markey, whatever you do not, and capitalize that, please, for me, do not apologize for your supporters' conduct, because that is exactly what Joe Kennedy wants you to do. In fact, if I were you, I'd even take it a step further. I would go on Twitter and start ranting about how Joe Kennedy's a fraud, expose him for what he is, try to prove to people that he's just doing this to score some cheap political points. My fellow viewers, I'm sure some of you live in Massachusetts. It's a pretty popular state. On September 1st, if you can vote Markey, because he's a true progressive. This guy has been a champion for the Green New Deal, Medicare for All. He is one of the few true progressives in the Senate. If you vote to elect Joe Kennedy III, you will be voting to continue the Kennedy dynasty, right? And you will be voting in a guy who's a complete snake. He's just a fake progressive trying to get more points. Mark my words, if he becomes your senator, he will be extremely inconsistent. He will change from being for Medicare for All to on from the public option, then just over and over, just continuously switching between policy and policy, between position and position. And the number one telltale sign that a politician is is an opportunist is that they're very inconsistent. Because look, if a politician is extremely inconsistent, if they're continuously flip-flopping on the issues, it shows they're just voting for what's convenient. They're not actually principled. Joe Kennedy the third is an example of that. So if you're able to vote on September 1st, which is in 2 days from now, and you live in Massachusetts, please vote for Ed Markey, because Ed Markey is one of the true progressives in the Senate. So see you guys later, and bye.